All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Vigil Agency Team Zoom, where we come together every Tuesday for 30 minutes and just get together, catch up, and do a little bit of team training. And sometimes, guys, it's we have to go back to the basics, right? And it's always good to be reminded of the basics every 90 days at least, maybe every 6 months. And something that has just really stuck with me since conference is is coaching to the great eight, and more commonly known as the four keys to a successful week, right? And the four cornerstones. So with those two things of four, that gives us the great eight. And I think it was Miss Sarah Pappas that coined that phrase, the great eight, and she coaches on that pretty regularly as well. She hosts a hot seat coaching in the on Zoom. It's typically on Tuesday afternoons, and you can find that information. I share it as often as I see it, but you can find it in the Big Cemetery Financial Group Agents Facebook group, and she'll post her graphic there on when she's doing that. And if anyone is ever feeling like they want to be challenged, we can either nominate you or you can nominate yourself, and she'll be able to coach you, so whatever that is, right? So if you need help with your dialing, if you need help with your presentation, anything like that, she'll do some hot seat coaching with you and just be able to give you some great feedback and coach you along all those things. And don't forget, guys, I'm available for that kind of stuff all the time as well. But it's sometimes it's great to hear it from someone else, right? Kyle said this, and a lot of people say this around the company as well, right? But ain't no party like a third party. I can preach until I'm blue in the face, but sometimes you got to hear it from someone else in order for it to click. So let me share my screen, and we will jump right into this. So let's go here. And guys, all this information for the most part can be found directly on HQ, right? So um, when you're under sales tools, you go to sales training, and then you go into the sales script or the training scripts. You've got the four cornerstones and you got the four keys to success. So I've opened up both of those already just to save us a little bit of time, but the four keys to a successful week, right? So we call this RAS. So you got resources, activity, schedule, and system, right? So our resources here are our leads, right? So our leads lead us to appointments, and appointments lead us to clients, right? That's really as simple as it is. So we have multiple lead systems, but we have an overall lead system here at Cemetery that allows you guys to have those resources. And even for if you don't have the ability to purchase leads, there's lots of ways to get leads, right? Through referrals, through warm markets, through network marketing, whatever the case is. And we've had some successful agents do that as well. But as a full-time agent, you want to be looking for 15 appointments, and that's a minimum goal, right? So don't ever let your minimum be your maximum. So 15 appointments is the minimum as um, a full-time agent here, right? And with that, you're looking at a combination of 50 to 60 leads between CIs, MI bonus leads, and those are levels, MI B, C, and D, and that'll run you a cost of anywhere between $250 and $300 a week. And then for a lower budget, right? You're still looking at the same goal, but this time you're going to look at between 100 and 200 leads. And that's going to run you anywhere between 100 and $150 a week. And that's going to be levels E, F, and G. So the difference between these two things, right, besides the cost, is going to be how much time you're spending calling the leads. And for those of you guys that have worked bonus leads, you guys understand what that's like, right? Make sure you're utilizing all the resources that we have, right? So we have funnel, so you can call and text from there. If you're not on funnel yet, you pick up your phone, right? Pick up your phone and put it to work for you. We have a great tool that all of us have, right? This little device can make you a lot of money as long as you're utilizing it correctly. And then activity. And activity comes down to a lot of different things, right? But being consistent is getting those 15 appointments in a week. And that's minimum if you're a full-time agent. Okay. Um, and part-time agents, that's 8 to 10, right? And I like to say really closer to 12 if you're a part-time agent. A lot of our weekend warriors that you see across the company, they're scheduling 12 to 15 appointments just on the weekends or whenever their days off are from their normal job. And then from there they'll scale up depending on if they're starting to scale down at their other job or whatever they're deciding to do, right? But you can scale up as quickly as you start to see your success here. And then schedule. This is the most important thing, right? So the schedule is something that all of you guys should have. If you don't have a schedule or an ideal schedule, get with me or your agent mentor, and we can help you put an ideal schedule together. And here's the harsh reality of a schedule. If you don't have it on your schedule, you won't get it done. That's the reality of it, right? If you don't have time in your calendar to dial, you're not going to dial because it's not on your schedule, or because you're going to try and find time to dial if it's not put in your schedule. Same thing with appointments. If you don't have so many appointment slots already scheduled in your calendar, you're not going to fill all those slots, right? Because you're trying to fit people in between the things that you have around your life. And what I tell people is, put the most important things in your life in your calendar, and then put your work schedule in there. So that's going to be your dialing, your case prep, your calls and Zooms and different things and trainings, right? And then also your appointments. And with that, also make sure that you have time to schedule mentor calls. You always want to be reaching up. Yet you're never a bother, and I don't want you guys to ever think that, right? The only time that I typically don't answer my phone is after 9 p.m., right? Just because time with family, things like that. And I tend to get to bed a little bit earlier because I get up a little bit earlier than most people. But I'm available early in the mornings as well. So if you guys ever need that time, just let me know, right? And then system, the last on the S there, right? So out of so four keys to successful weekend, we'll recap that real quick: resources, activity, schedule, and then system. So utilizing your mentor, all the tools and resources that we have here at SFG, and there's a lot of tools, right? You've got SFG quotes, you got HQ, you have Mortgage Protection University, and then you've got all the WhatsApp channels, you've got the Facebook groups, all the different places to be able to get the information that you need. One of the things that I do love about Symmetry is that you can reach up and you can reach out as often as possible, right? No one needs to work this business alone. Find yourself a running buddy. Find yourself a sideline person. I'll say this, and I'll stop sharing for just a quick second. But like Brenda, right? She has a lot of sideline people that she talks to, a lot of sideline people that she helps as well. Um, she's got Danielle and Jeremy, who are part of the Andrick team, and they talk a lot. They've become great friends over time. They've met people at different. She's met a lot of people at different events around the country. She makes those efforts to find them, and you guys can always find where those events are on the events page on HQ. So make sure that you guys are finding someone that you can rely on and someone that can rely on you and hold you accountable. And part of the system, right, is being a part of an accountability group. So I think that corporate did a great job of promoting the accountability stuff, right? And now you've seen there's I don't know how many leaders across the country are now utilizing Jim Larson's accountability co-op. We're a part of that now, right? Monday through Friday. So before we used to do our own Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays, I would send you guys over there. But now we're just over there, right? And then since our Zoom room was officially launched after the 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time whoever's speaking in the morning, then we break out into our breakout room. And that's where we're going to cover the numbers, right? And that's true accountability. So for September, like I told you guys, we are going to hold everyone accountable to hitting their goals, right? So and Jim Larson told me this on Monday, yeah, Monday last week. He says, Michael, he's like, I know that you want to be like everyone's friend, right? But if they're not holding themselves accountable, if they're not doing the things that they're supposed to do every single day, you got to let them go from the group. Brenda, I think you've been attending that one for close to a year now, right? And and they make that a reality, right? If you're not hitting your goals, they're like, all right, we'll see you later. When you're ready to come back, come back. You want to say anything on that?
No, I mean that's 100% right. I mean, I've been doing let's see, at least listening in on that one for probably over a year and a half. And then we did a 6 to 8 month spout where we did like the actual accountability spreadsheet and stuff like that. And it was definitely that, like, it was kind of a, you get two shots. If you don't hold yourself, then you kind of get asked politely to not participate anymore until you can fulfill those requirements.
Yeah. And guys, it's not that, any one of us are being harsh, right? But if you're not able to hold yourself accountable, we surely can't help hold you accountable, right? So, um, we have the spreadsheet. I posted the link in the WhatsApp chat. If you guys need it individually, let me know. We can get your name added to it. But here's what I learned from that, right? Is I don't have to recreate the wheel. There's already a system in place. And like I've told you guys before, right? Um, if you want to be around the fire, you got to put yourself around it, right? So I put myself in front of the fire and the rest of us by association, right? So now we're all part of the Jim Larson Accountability Co-op. And a lot of great speakers. Like this morning, I took some great notes on that, right, from Scott Schnitzer. And it was great to hear some things that I taught him over the past couple of years as well that he was speaking on, right? So some of the text messages to send people, things like that. And I posted those notes in the WhatsApp this morning as well. So 7 things to get more appointment shows. But that's something that we all struggle with, right? Is getting people to show up to their appointments. And he gave us a very simple breakdown of that. So if you guys haven't had a chance, go to the WhatsApp and read what those 7 things are. And it's going to take some work on your end, right, to start implementing those things, like setting up your Calendly so that the text messages and the email reminders go out. Even if you're not doing Zoom appointments, you can still utilize Calendly so they'll get the reminder on that. So some great things that came out of that. All right, we're going to go to the second half of the Great Eight. So these are going to be the 4 cornerstones, right? So believe in what you're selling. And this is huge, guys. This comes down to mindset, right? You have to believe that what we're doing here is important. We have to, you have to believe that you are providing a service that people need in their life, right? So what we provide
Are
solutions.
you sharing? Are you
Oh,
sharing your screen?
thank you. See, accountability right there. Thank you, Brenda. 4 cornerstones. So believe in what you sell, right? So most of you guys already own a policy. And if you don't, I highly recommend that you guys get one, right? And then we're going to talk about this one here, right? Provide solutions to your warm market. Um, it is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So I want all of you guys to be able to participate in Life Insurance Awareness Month and start talking about it every single day, right? And we're going to cover those resources here in a little bit. I got a bunch of tabs open up here you guys can see. I'm going to share all those with you guys here in just a minute, right? And then work and counsel through MAC, right? MAC is massive action, constant correction. And this goes for anything in life, right? It could be with your faith, right? So maybe you say that you're gonna do your devotional every day, right? And you may fall off, a day here, a day there. Like I woke up not feeling well this morning and I didn't want to sit down and read, but I still got it done. It took me close to an hour and a half to get through everything with something that normally takes me about 45 minutes to get through. But I got through my daily Bible reading. I got through my personal development reading, right? So reading a book, and I made a goal for myself to read 10 books this month. 10 books is a lot, and I start off the month feeling like crap. Guess what? Still got up and got it done, right? So, make sure you guys are doing massive action, constant correction. Commitment to ongoing self-improvement, right? So work on yourself, work on the business. You guys will hear us talk about this day in and day out. There's plenty of opportunities for you guys to do that. Plug into everything, right? The accountability call is huge. The daily huddles are huge, right? The Wednesday call is a non-negotiable for me. This call is a non-negotiable for me. And as the team grows, I want more and more of you guys to take ownership of that as well, right? Because as your team grows, your people are going to want to see and hear from you as well. So I want you guys to be able to get used to that. And the only way to be able to do that is to be able to grow yourself daily. Um, and you guys have seen me. I've leaned on Brenda over times when things aren't, when family emergencies or things like that come up. Hey Brenda, can you take over the call? Sometimes it's like within an hour, be like, hey B, can you take over the call? And it's because I know that she's doing the things every single day. She's reading, she's learning, she's growing. So make sure you guys are doing that. And then associate with the right people. You guys heard me talk about that earlier, right? Find yourself a running buddy. Find yourself someone that's going to help you grow, and you're going to be the same for them, right? We have a lot of great relationships across the company here, and not necessarily within the same agency, right? So, and then communicate with me, right? I reached out to a couple people that I hadn't seen in a while. And then I found out that they're going through some very personal things, right? A lot of things going on in their families or with them, health issues, family issues, business issues, whatever the case is. Just let us know what's going on, right? You are not a burden, trust me. And then communicate with positive attitude. And I hope you guys have seen that. I continue to work on that one myself because I am someone that likes to operate at a high level, and when things aren't going well, right, I tend to let that be conveyed and portrayed through the way that I talk and text and things like that. So I'm working on that myself and just being more positive and optimistic across the way. And with that, right, is understanding and respect proper communication, right? So um, a lot of you guys have seen I've been doing a lot more reach outs, things like that, because I'll think about it and I just don't do it, right? So now whenever I think about you or you something, I'll just stop whatever I'm doing and I'll send that message or I'll give you guys a call. All right. So those are the great eight. So the four cornerstones and then the four keys to success. I was talking about Life Insurance Awareness Month, and then this morning as I was prepping, I saw that this email came through, right? So Life Insurance Awareness Month for 2025. Mutual of Omaha sent us an email with some opportunities for us to be able to look at that, right? So they have a social hub. So that one is over here, and they have different social texts that you guys can copy, right? And all sorts of different things that you can help people with term life insurance, children's whole life policy, wealth, income planning, all kinds of great things that you can utilize directly from Mutual of Omaha. If you like Mutual of Omaha as a carrier, it's great stuff to use, right? If not, you can just glean on it for some inspiration to create your own stuff. Guys, a normal Canva account is free. You guys can take some of that information and make your own Canva graphics, but utilize it every single day. I know this isn't really like part of the life insurance awareness month, but it's something great, especially for people that end up selling a lot of final expense. But they have this record keeper that you can utilize and send to your clients for for final expense stuff. So this they can put all their personal information, right? They can put passwords and things like that to leave to their family, different logins and things like that, what accounts that they have. So whatever important documents that they may have, where it's found, where it can be found, right? So like if someone has a will, hey, it's in the top left drawer of my desk in my office, whatever the case is, right? How to find all their information, because all that stuff is important, especially when you're going to file a claim. And then, your final expense wishes, right? So do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? There's a new one called water burial, right? So now they liquefy your body and they're able to put it into essentially water, right? And then, just all those different types of tools that you can utilize when you're helping your clients with different things. The other key resource that I like to use for Life Insurance Awareness Month is Life Happens. Lifehappens.org. Let me copy this real quick. I'm gonna put this here in the chat. And guys, lifehappens.org, I've been a part of this organization for a long time. It's just a great way to learn more about Life Insurance Awareness Month. They've got a blog that you can get inspiration on, read the stories, make them your own, right? The one I did yesterday was a story from Life Insurance from lifehappens.org. I have a lot of my own real life experiences, right? Death claims, different things like that I've helped. People that have had to file claims for living benefits, people that are getting a monthly check right now. I've got one lady that gets a $2,500 check that she filed a claim on in 2019 because her health took a turn for the worse. I had another one that got just a flat payout. And that was one that I did as a joint work case. So another agent came to me and asked me for help because she hadn't been able to help this client with anything. And over the years, I stayed in touch with Renee, and I was able to finally help her get coverage. We got her, a term policy, very modest policy that she could afford for $125 a month. And she ended up getting a check for $100,000 on the living benefit side. And then we converted the rest of that term policy into a permanent policy. So now she has $50,000 for her final expenses. That's completely paid up. And it was all because she had a qualifying event under the living benefits. So also under the lifehappens.org is they have a calendar. This one's dated, but they've got a lot more. But they have a graphics library as well. They tell you what to post, different things that you can do throughout the month to help grow your awareness and help grow people's awareness of life insurance as well and why it matters, right? So this is what, some of the graphics look like that you guys can use, or like I said, glean for inspiration and make your own on Canva. And make sure you guys are branding everything for yourself, right? Yes, we all work under the Quility umbrella and we all work for Symmetry Financial Group, right? But you're all your own agency. So if you need to start branding, I would highly recommend doing that as quickly as you can, right? So like Chuck is Silversmith Financial Group, right? You got the Kings Financial Group over here with Brenda. We're the Vigil agency under the Vigil group. So I've got multiple layers under my umbrella on top of, Alk Financial Group, which is Lisa, Kyle, and then we've got Symmetry Financial Group, and then Quility. So you can operate under any and all of those. So I highly recommend that you guys are doing that and start using hashtags for your own agency as well, right? So like mine is just hashtag the V Hill Agency. So now if you post that on social media, or you type that in social media in a search, you can find all the posts that the V Hill Agency has been tagged in or posted themselves. Great way to get clients, and then it's also just a fun way to educate people on the importance of life insurance. And this is a great month to do that, right? So we're coming out of summer, moving into fall, so where life slows down right before it starts to get busy again, right? Because what happens? We got Halloween, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, New Year's, right? And life gets extremely busy during that time frame. So this is that perfect time to grow your business while other people's lives are slowing down as well. So utilize the next 60 days to really set yourself up for a great finish for the last quarter of 2025. All right. Anyone have any questions or comments that they'd like to make? Not nothing? All
All
right.
sounded good.
Appreciate you joining us, Brenda. I know that you got a lot going on, and I'm going to reach out to you here in a little bit as well. Um, so, guys, this is, and Brenda's probably going to hear this for the first time, but um, I would like to run or not appointments, but interviews for you one day out of the week, um, until your recovery or until you feel like you're ready to take over those. But just to help you grow your team, and that's part of just our appreciation for you and everything that you've done for the team. So you just tell me what day you want those interviews to be ran, and I'll run those interviews for you. Um, just to help you during this time and help your team continue to grow while you're recovering, because we know that when you're recovered, you're going to come back full steam ahead and just be a powerhouse to be reckoned with.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Michael.
Got it, Brenda. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording now.